Welcome to another Thursday night here at Be Connected World. Tonight we have the incredible Katherine Minett, who is a sales trainer success specialist at Minett Sales Academy. She is the creator of the Sales Confidence Formula, a transformational sales training and coaching program designed specifically for sales professionals and business owners who sell face-to-face and must make consistent sales to make commissions and increase their salary. With more than 30 years in frontline corporate sales experience, Katherine is the winner of 3 Representative of the Year awards at 3 different multinational companies and has consistently, put your teeth in, Alison, exceeded her sales budgets. Originally from Liverpool in the UK, Katherine now lives in sunny Brisbane, and tonight she's going to give us some incredible sales gold. Go ahead, Katherine.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Alison, for that lovely warm welcome. I'm just going to share my screen because I do have a PowerPoint presentation. Can you all see the correct screen?
Yep.
Yeah. Excellent. Right. Well, today's training is 8 ways to build rapport in a sales call. Now, this is a really important one because if we don't have rapport with our prospects, then you're unlikely to convert that prospect into being a client or customer of yours. So for those of you who have not met me before, and there might be some of you in the room today, Katherine Minett, that's who I am. I am the Sales Success Specialist and the founder of Minett Sales Academy. Also, I am the creator of the Sales Confidence Formula. Now, for those of you who've been coming to my trainings regularly, you'll know that I like to train on 3 areas of the Sales Confidence Formula. First area is all about knowing the right things to then knowing the right things to do, and the third part of the formula is knowing the right things to say and how to say it. And when you know these how to do these 3 things, then your sales results can change overnight. So my goal for the sales training on Thursday afternoons is to teach you the right things to think, to teach you the right things to do, and to teach you the right things to say. And today's training is all about the right thing to say. And that is about building rapport and being able to build rapport during that sales conversation. So today's presentation, 8 ways to build rapport in a sales call. And I'll start with a quote from Tony Robbins. Everyone knows Tony. He says that rapport is the ability to enter someone else's world. So someone else's world. So really getting to understand who they are, what they do, how they think, how they talk, everything that you need to know about them. And it makes them feel like you understand them, because we like it when we feel like we're being heard and understood. And that you have a strong common bond. So you know, whether it's in business or socially, having a strong rapport can make a big difference to the relationship, but also if you're in sales, obviously, or in business, it makes a big difference in your sales results. So rapport is basically the foundation of all good relationships, whether you're in business or you've got friends or family. All relationships do have the element of rapport, and that's why it's important to learn this skill. So rapport is it's also a friendly, harmonious relationship, which is characterized by agreement, mutual understanding or empathy that makes communication possible or easy. And of course, when we think about this in terms of the sales conversation, which is all about communicating effectively, then rapport is a critical factor to that. So it's all about that know, like, and trust, which you've probably all heard before. That is very important in order to be able to connect with someone and to be able to convert a lead or prospect into a client. So what are the 8 things? So I'm going to quickly rattle them off, but I am going to go back in more detail. But grab your pens, get ready to take notes. There's going to be lots of nuggets as I go through each one. So the first one is eye contact. The second one, genuine smile. The third one, dress appropriately. Now, these are all nice and easy things that you're probably doing most of them anyway. But the reason for me going through these today is because I want to make sure you're consciously going through these things. Number 4, find common ground and shared expectations. Mirroring, some of you may or may not have heard of this term. Pacing, this is something that's also not commonly spoken about unless you've had sales training before. Number 7, asking quality questions. And number 8, listening with your whole body. So we're going to go through each of those. So the first one, eye contact. Now, you've probably heard that the eyes are the window to the soul. And it's very important to be able to confidently make eye contact. And not everyone can do that. But why is it important to make eye contact? Because of that know, like, and trust. When people are not making eye contact, it might look something like this. How does it feel when someone turns away from you and is not looking at you when you're trying to have a conversation? How does that feel? It doesn't feel good. And yet sometimes people in a networking meeting will look away and be looking around, or a party for that matter, looking around the room at who's coming through the door, or what are they talking about, and not paying attention and making eye contact to the person they're with. And all that does is make the person feel like, well, you don't really care about what they're saying. And we can do this unconsciously. So ideally, we want to be making contact in a business situation, maybe not like this. This is a romantic situation, but it just shows you the difference between looking away and making really good, effective eye contact. So when you're making eye contact the right way, which is not necessarily staring at them, but you can look away when you're making eye contact when you're thinking, but you always need to be conscious of bringing the eye contact back, because then it will be increases the chance of connection, a deeper connection, and it also shows that you're interested in people. So be conscious of your level of eye contact. It's very important in networking situations and especially in sales calls. So number 2, the genuine smile. Well, sounds a bit obvious as well, but how many of you have been speaking with someone and they look a bit like this? It's not so much a smile, it's more of a grimace. And they might be smiling, or they think they're smiling, but they're not genuinely smiling. And you can tell a genuine smile by the eyes, because a real genuine smile it lights up the whole face, and you can actually see it in the eyes. So it should look something more like this, where you can see you've got a real genuine smile there and not an artificial smile. So why is this important? Because again, going back to caveman times, our ancestors, when someone smiles at you, it means that you're welcome and that they like you. But if someone is not smiling, or they're giving you a false smile, like not a full genuine smile, I call it a false smile, that people can pick up on that. You can tell when someone is not smiling genuinely. And if you're just smiling and you're not really genuinely smiling, then you could send out signals to the other person unconsciously that you're really not interested and you don't like them. So if you've ever, and I've had this situation where I've not been smiling genuine, I've been distracted, and someone has actually said, have you got a problem with me? And it's like, oh, no, I don't. But I wasn't genuinely smiling. I was just putting on a smile. I wasn't in a good mood at the time. But someone actually did call me out on that once. So thankfully they did. So it made me conscious of it. But be aware that when you are with someone, that you're giving them your full attention, full eye contact, and the genuine smile. Number 3, dress appropriately. Now, sounds common sense, but dressing like this might be appropriate for some situations, but not every situation. Now, this is obviously going to the extreme of how you probably wouldn't dress in a business situation, unless maybe you're in a place where you're selling lingerie. That may be appropriate. So typically in the business world, it's the suit, the black or the grey or blue suit. And obviously, women tend to, can throw a splash of color in there as well. But being able to dress appropriately for your audience. So the key thing here is for your audience. So it's knowing who your audience is and how do they dress. Because again, we want to dress in the same way that is acceptable to your prospect, which may or may not be a suit. It may or may not include the tie being on, or even the jacket. And so knowing who you're meeting with and how they would typically dress. So if you're going into the city, you're meeting with lawyers or accountants, typically it's suits. But imagine you're selling products to someone who's a bit more casual, I don't know, like architects or builders, then you might dress not so smart. You might dress, you'd still be smart, but you wouldn't wear a suit to go and sell building products to builders. You might wear a polo shirt and some khaki pants. But there's no right or wrong here. It all depends on the situation and who your target market is and how what the expectation is for the dress code. So make sure you follow the dress code. Again, this is all about building rapport and connection with them. Number 4, common ground and shared expectations. So what am I talking about here? I'm talking about shared interests. So what sport, what hobby do the people that you're connecting with? Now, if you know something about them from Facebook or LinkedIn, when you've done your research before you meet with someone, you might find out that they're a cyclist. Now, if that's something that you do as well, then fabulous. You've got a common ground, a topic that you can talk about, or shared expectations about that topic. It could be soccer. And as I mentioned, you can find out a lot of information from social media. So go to Facebook, go to LinkedIn, and I mean, maybe you've met them before at a networking meeting, or maybe you can ask them when you're having a conversation with someone. Get to know what it is about them that's not just from a business point of view, but who are they as a person? What are their interests outside of the business world? Because if you can find an area of connection, and it could be something like church, maybe you go to the same church, or you have the same religious following, religious beliefs, or spiritual beliefs, whatever it is. Or maybe it's just the interest in bushwalking or hiking or skiing or golf, whatever it is. If you've got a hobby or a something that you like to do on the weekends in your private time, maybe find out whether those people that you're visiting, you're calling on, also has that common shared interest. So number 5, mirroring. Now, mirroring, you'd think that mirroring means like copying and being exactly the same. But mirroring in a sales conversation in order to build rapport does not mean copying and being exactly like the mirror as shown on the picture here. So what does mirroring really mean? So mirroring is more about mirroring the behavior but not copying. So if someone is sitting and leaning forward on a table when you're talking with them, then you might lean forward in your chair. If they're leaning back in a more casual stance, then you might lean back in your chair. If they put their hand up on their towards their face, you might put your hand up to your face, but you wouldn't necessarily do it straight after like a mime artist copying someone. Necessarily put your hand at the same place on the face. So it is a little bit more subtle than that and does take a little bit of practice to do. You don't want them to see that you're copying them, but what you want to do is make it very subtle, because when mirroring is done subtly, it helps with the connection. And you know that you've got mirroring working really well is it when you do something like you might just put your hand up to your head, and then shortly after, the person you're talking to, will then maybe lean back and touch their head. So this is like an advanced level of body language behavior for sales. And it's something, if you've never heard about it before, you're probably going to get a bit more training on it before you just go out and do it. But for those of you who have heard about mirroring before and have a few skills that they've been practicing, then don't forget to use those mirroring skills in a sales call to help build the rapport. But be careful, it's a bit of a warning on this one, that you don't get caught out and just be copying them in exactly what they're doing. So number 6, pacing. Now this is a similar sort of thing. It's about observing the person that you're talking to, but it's looking at their pace. Now their pace could be the pace in their voice. So they could be talking very slowly. And some people, not me, speak slowly. And so if you're a fast talker like me, I have a fast pace of speaking, so I'm more like the hare, not the tortoise. If I'm meeting with someone and I have maybe I've met them before, but maybe I know or very quickly I observe that they are a slow talker and they've got a very slow pace, then I will then mirror that pace. So it's a sort of an extension on the mirroring. I will mirror that pace and I will slow my speech down in order to match the pace of their speech. And of course, it goes the opposite way. If you tend to speak slowly and then you meet with someone who's a fast talker like me, then in order to build that rapport, you need to pick your pace of your speech up. And pacing can work not just with the speed of the speaking, but also the tone, the volume, and also body movements as well. Are they fast moving? Are they moving the pace of moving their hands? Or if you're walking with someone, are they walking slowly or are they walking fast? So it's about observing the other person's body language and then pacing yourself to be like them at their pace, and that will help build the rapport. Then we've got asking quality questions. I'm not going to go into detail on this one because we did a whole lesson on quality questions a few weeks ago. But if you remember, one of the quotes I said from Brian Tracy is, telling is not selling. Only asking questions is selling. So when you ask those quality questions, it means that you're showing that you're interested in the person you're talking to. And people love it when someone is interested in what they have to say. So you can control the conversation by asking questions and putting the spotlight onto the person that you're talking with. Number 8, the final one, is listening with your whole body. So listening with your whole body. Obviously, we know we need to listen with our ears, and this is a very hard, it's not an easy skill to practice. You'd think that listening was easy, but a lot of people, they're not listening to understand the other person. They're actually listening to think about what's the next thing I'm going to say, to keep the conversation going, and they're not truly listening. So listening is a skill that requires practice, but listening with your whole body, it's how you hold your body. And you can see in this picture that the lady's got her head slightly tilted, and that is a physical body language that says, I'm listening. So that is something. And then again, when someone sees that in you, they see that you are listening, not just because you've got your mouth shut, but also because of your body language. And if you're in a networking situation, just being able to see in this picture, when you're facing head on, then that shows a good connection. You're listening with the other person. But have you ever been in a situation where someone has their body turned to the side and it's as if they're trying to get away? And in fact, sometimes people are trying to get away and you don't pick up on the cue. But if someone turns their shoulder towards you, it's an indication that they're not truly listening to you. So be aware of that body language in yourself as well. So they're the eight ways to build rapport in a sales conversation. Obviously, I could go deeper in each of those, but we don't have time tonight. But my gift for you this evening, I always like to offer a gift. My gift to the value of $497 is a sales breakthrough call. And during the sales breakthrough call, if you're open to having a call with me, then I will discuss what the biggest sales challenge you're having right now, and I'll help you fix it if I can. And at the end of the call, you'll feel inspired, motivated, and energized, and you'll have clarity and a clear direction, knowing exactly what you need to do to move forward. So I've only got 5 spots available. So if you're interested in booking a time, book it now. You can go to this URL, which I'll put in the chat later, or you can just scan the QR code here. And that will take you to a calendar where you can choose the suitable time. That will then take you to a short questionnaire so I can get some information to help the call be of value to you in the 60 minutes that we have together. And there's the QR code again if you want to scan it. And that is the end of the training tonight. So today we've learned all about the 8 ways to build rapport in a sales call or sales conversation.